It is Champions League qualifier night at Celtic Park as the Hoops take on Lask Linz in the first leg tonight. But before we get to that, Martin O'Neill has spoken directly about the Arnie Engles situation and addressed fan frustration head-on. We also have a transfer update on a midfielder Celtic are pursuing, Cameron Carter-Vickers with a frank assessment of where this squad stands right now, Austin Trusty revealing the new weapon O'Neill has added to the backroom, and a former Celtic favourite opening up about how his time at Parkhead cost him a World Cup place. Big morning, let's get into it, but first make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Celtic are advancing in their pursuit of Canadian international Nico Seager, with reports this morning confirming the club are making progress on a deal for the 22-year-old midfielder. Celtic News can confirm Seager is on the club's list of targets. He is a player who has been discussed at Parkhead since as far back as January, but a deal has never been completed. That could be about to change. The Daily Record reports that a move is advancing, and the financial details are relatively straightforward. A deal is understood to be worth around £3 million, which is considered a reasonable fee for a player of his profile and age. Celtic's CFO Chris McKay would not be required to sanction a substantial financial package to get this one over the line. However, there is a complication. Seager is expected to feature for Hajduk Split in their Europa Conference League qualifier against Rako Czestochowa, and the club are keen to keep him for that campaign. That could delay any move to Parkhead until the later stages of the summer window. It is also worth noting that Celtic missed the UEFA deadline to register any new players for tonight's Champions League qualifier against Lask. The 4 summer arrivals already registered will be available, but Seager, if signed, would only be eligible for domestic and Europa competition until the next registration window. At 22, and able to play both as a central midfielder and at right back, Seager's versatility makes him an appealing option. Celtic need midfield reinforcement after losing Arne Engles to West Ham, and if a deal can be concluded quickly, Seager could form a key part of the squad for the months ahead. Now for the main story, as Martin O'Neill has responded directly to growing fan frustration over Celtic's failure to bring in a replacement for Arne Engles before tonight's Champions League playoff first leg against Lask. Engles left for West Ham after informing Celtic that he was not prepared to risk picking up an injury before the move went through. He had watched Alistair Johnston suffer an injury that caused his potential Everton transfer to collapse, and was simply not willing to put himself in the same position. He had his mind made up. O'Neill was understanding of that, acknowledging that stopping him from playing while his head was elsewhere would have created its own problems. But the manager was equally clear that Celtic had been working hard to bring in a replacement, and that the right player simply had not materialised in time. Speaking ahead of tonight's game, O'Neill said, "I will understand any arguments put forward about that. If I was looking at it from a distance, ideally it'd be great to have kept him. When the initial bid came in and there was nothing happening, in fairness to us, we've actually actively been looking at replacements for him. They just haven't materialised at this minute. Sometimes that happens." On Engles himself, O'Neill added, "In fairness to the lad, he played in the games. He played in the 2 matches. Let's give him credit for that. I think when Alistair Johnston got injured, I think he thought it could happen to him, and that chance to play down in London for West Ham, who are a big club who can afford to take him, well, that was something he didn't want to miss out on. The reality is that this is not a shock situation. Engles had 3 bids turned down in January alone. It was always likely that he would leave this summer. The expectation was that Celtic would have a replacement lined up. The Nico Seager pursuit is advancing, but with the UEFA deadline now passed, no new face can be in the squad for tonight." O'Neill finished by saying, "We have a bit of quality in, but we've got a little bit of time. But yes, for the Champions League, I'll take the point." That is the honest assessment of where the club finds itself going into the biggest game of the season so far. In other news, Cameron Carter-Vickers has given an honest and frank assessment of where Celtic stand ahead of tonight's clash with Lask, comparing the current squad to the group that suffered the humiliating exit to Kairat Almaty in last season's qualifier. Carter-Vickers is clear that the situation is better now than it was 12 months ago, but he is not getting carried away. Speaking to Record Sport, he said, "Trying to think back to that point in time, if you look at the squad now compared to that, you'd probably say we're probably slightly in a better place. I think the signings we have made have definitely hit the ground running and are showing their quality. Only slightly better." That is an honest answer rather than a diplomatic one, and it reflects the underlying frustration that still exists around the club's recruitment this summer. 4 players have come in, and Casper Ho and Camilo Duran both arrive with Champions League experience and goals to their name. That is a genuine upgrade on what Celtic had going into the Kairat tie, but losing Engles without a replacement being in place, Johnston out injured, and the left back position still unsettled all mean that there are still obvious gaps in this squad. Celtic went out against Kairat across 210 minutes of football without scoring a single goal. That attacking problem has been addressed in part. The wider structural issues have not been fully solved. Tonight is the test. Lask are a serious side, and Celtic Park needs to deliver the kind of European atmosphere that can give the team a real advantage in the tie. Carter-Vickers and the rest of the squad know exactly what is at stake. Failing to qualify for the Champions League group stage would be a blow for the club on every level, financial and sporting. In other news, Austin Trusty has revealed how new Celtic set-piece coach Ross Grant is already making a real difference at Parkhead, with the squad seeing immediate benefits from his arrival this summer. Grant came in after spending last season working under Derek McInnes at Tynecastle. Celtic News revealed at the time that McInnes had wanted to take Grant with him when he made the move to Rangers, but Celtic moved faster and secured his services instead. For a lifelong Celtic fan, it was an opportunity he could not turn down. The early signs are very promising. Celtic's opening goal against Dundee United at the weekend came directly from a set-piece routine worked on in training. Austin Trusty powered a header home from a corner, with Benjamin Nygren delivering the ball to the near post, and Trusty making the clever run to flick it beyond the goalkeeper. Trusty spoke to the Celtic way about Grant's impact, saying, "Ross has come in and done a great job. He's made it clear for us about how to score goals and get into positions to score goals. It's been at a certain point in the week or the day before a game, whether it's video or putting it out on the pitch and getting little bits out. He's done well since he came in. If you can get a good ball in, then you need to get those spots. Scoring from set pieces would be another good addition to the team." Set pieces have historically been an area where Celtic have not always maximised their potential given the quality of deliveries and the physical presence in the squad. If Grant can make this a consistent source of goals across the season, it could prove to be one of the smarter pieces of business the club has done this summer. Lastly, Marcelo Siraki has opened up in an emotional interview about his loan spell at Celtic last season, revealing that his time at Parkhead was incredible despite the experience ultimately costing him a place at the World Cup. Siraki joined Celtic on loan from Boca Juniors and quickly became popular with supporters. He played an important role in the title run-in under Martin O'Neill, most notably contributing to the build-up for Daisen Maeda's crucial goal against Hearts on the final day of the season. Without that goal, the title might not have come to Glasgow, but his time at Celtic also meant rotating with Kieran Tierney, and he made only 8 league starts during the campaign. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.